let's go right into it then. On my mark, press play.
Okay.
So 1, 2, 3, go. All right. Hi to everybody that's joining the channel. Probably only a few of you right now, but hopefully there'll be more later. This is the unofficial English broadcast of the League of Legends Master Series being held in Taipei between the Taiwan. Oh, I forgot to turn on the volume on my playback. Between the Taiwan, Hong Kong, and supposedly the Macau regions, although I haven't actually heard of any Macau players. This will be between me, Obscurica, and Clement Chu, former NIP coach. Hi, Clement.
Hey, hi, how are you doing?
So we'll just go right to picks and bans because didn't give us enough of a leeway. But yes, right away we see that Darling Yu's gone a Galio ban from Logitech Snipers. Clement, what do you think of the Galio uprising in Taiwan that has been going on so far?
Well, a lot of top laners think that he might actually make it into that tier S or maybe a tier A pick here. Just because he has a lot of wave clear. You know, we see him teamed up a lot with Sivir, so he can get an easier engage. And he's one of those AP champions that you can just place top lane. He just wave clears. He has a really safe lane in most situations. Does well against Lissandra and whatnot. Actually, the bans we're seeing from Logitech Snipers are all rather like they're kind of like the peripheral of what we consider as top picks right now. Galio, Cassiopeia both banned. And for Darling Yu, it's very clear that they're just targeting Ysera here. Cassin banned, LeBlanc, and Syndra as well.
So I assume that Ysera is therefore pretty well enough for his assassin plays in, because that's 3 assassins in a row. Well, Syndra maybe not quite considered assassin, but definitely a very targeted ban choice from Darling Yu. The Galio priority though. How much of it is due to the changes to its ultimate, where it's now no longer affected by tenacity?
Oh, that one is huge. Like, it used to... The problem about Galio is always really difficult to get his ult off, and that hasn't changed. That's why a lot of top laners still hold out a lot of doubt in this pick. But in terms of when you actually get that ult down, the full 2-second channel is immense, because it isn't affected by the usual 35% tenacity, which would cut that down by 0.7 seconds. That's immense in terms of the CC times. And right now we see that there's basically the hot mid-tier picks here are Xerath and Azir, which are still left in the draft, and we see Azir, so the first one we've seen so far, getting picked up here by Darling.
We also see that Logitech Snipers have pretty much picked the #1 support pick at this time, the Janna pick, and with Thresh being the Darling Yu answer to that. The Janna tends to be used as a disengage option for siege comp still. So, how effective was it a pick into the was the Azir pick into the Janna thing? Because it seems as if it's going to be really hard. Well, for one thing, Monsoon doesn't work on the soldiers, right? So, all that damage is still going to be going on.
So they're going to be missing one core part of the poke comp, which is the Janna speed buff and the Monsoon disengage here. But I think overall, this is I just want to compliment the Snipers on this pick because they understood what's happening to the mid lane role right now. There are no assassins left, so that pretty much leaves the top priority mid lane picks are pretty much just poke champions. Xerath, Azir, we see those getting banned over and over in OGN. And Logitech Snipers are still following this route. They're going for the Sivir, they're going for the Jarvan. Really strong initiation compositions. And I just want to add that so far we haven't seen pro comps actually work in Realmness. I believe all the games yesterday were where the Steamroll comp actually came out ahead.
Yes, indeed. With well, HQ Steamroll comp didn't quite work, but that's because TFA picked a better one late into the late game. I do notice that with the Janna and Sivir pick, that those are basically 2 mobility buffs to the Logitech Snipers team. So I assume they're going to be all over the map quite well.
Yeah, exactly. Now we see that Janna, it's really common for her to pick up the Captain enhancement on her boots. So overall, the entire team gets a 15% speed buff just out of that single champion. That's really immense when you're trying to chase down, and not to mention, of course, Sivir ult, which gives you, I believe it's short-term 80% boost at the max level.
And the answer to that seems to be, darling, you picking one of the most powerful bot lanes right now, the Thresh and Graves combination. Uh, if I'm not mistaken, that's gonna spell a hard time for a Sivir. She may be able to neutralize one or two spells, but the hard damage coming out from Graves tends to be hard for her to deal with.
I'd say it's fairly okay. They both have similar ranges. Graves only outranges Sivir by, I believe, 25 range. And Janna is slightly stronger in the lane than Thresh at this moment. At least from my own understanding, that's what I feel. Oh, but these are two really interesting picks coming out from Cypher here. I don't think they're going to lock either in, though.
I would be very surprised if that... yeah, it's Alessandra instead of Draven. But, yeah... Draven's probably just a troll pick at this stage, honestly. He was fun to watch a couple years ago, but right now he's really falling back. The Lissandra pick, however, is pretty much just bog standard at this point. It's also one of the few great assassin picks left, I think.
Yeah, the thing about, like, I really like you brought up the point about Lissandra actually having some assassin qualities. If you look at her ratios, oops, just as we were about to talk to, they actually switched the Ari pick. Which actually does really well against the Azir. She's going to get bullied out early just because of the range difference, but it's really hard for Azir to kill her, and she also brings that skirmishing aspect, which completely nullifies what Azir is good at. Azir is a champion that wants to set up, he wants to get his 3 soldier reserves in place before a fight. But when you're an Ari, just spirit rush in and try to catch someone out. But
is actually top lane Azir?
Yeah, that's going to be a top lane Azir, so forget what we just said there.
Okay, so top lane is here against Renekton, which is a bit of a lore lane, actually, given the lore behind them. But
yeah, exactly.
Renekton's been traditionally a lane bully because of his high sustain, but how does it work against Azir? He has a pretty significant range difference.
That's true, but Renekton really brings far more sustain. There's the thing about Azir and what makes him really kind of in a precarious situation top lane that even though he does have an escape, it actually burns through his mana incredibly fast. To actually use his escape, a lot of times you need to burn through all 3 of your skills. So that leaves you very little mana to actually poke in lane. I could see if Jarvan goes up there once, the lane's going to be completely in Renekton's favor. I will say that they did get a better matchup because of the flex pick Azir. I mean, Darling UC with the Fizz in the middle lane. Fizz, even though Ari can dash away, like Fizz can throw his fish during the queue, and it's actually very hard for Ari to actually escape that. So I give that matchup a slight advantage to Fizz in the post 6 stages.
And plus, he can always just hop, skip, and jump away from any charms that try to land on him. It's really hard to catch him. Everybody wants to be Westdoor these days.
Yeah, and this really changes kind of the entire mid lane dynamics here. We see that I was hoping that we'd see I was thinking that we'd see more poke champions, but actually right now we're seeing a really strong kind of like formation fight from Darling EU coming out. They have the zone denial from the Azir to stop these Ari and Renekton and Jarvan from coming into the back line here, and they also have a lot of burst damage with the Graves and the Fist here.
We see them start off right away. The Doran's shield on Renekton just to block out the auto attack damage from Maple Snow, I believe. Yeah. What do you think of the Lee Sin situation these days? As the jungle situation, really, it seems to have basically boiled down to either Jarvan or Lee Sin, and everybody else seems to be a much lower priority. What's been going on for that kind of stalemate?
Well, right now, a huge thing about the jungler is that the warrior enchantment is just way too strong at this point. And also, because of how jungle EXP works right now, you can straight farm, you still won't get as much EXP as you would have before. So early ganking is actually a really important part of a jungler experience in bold game. So we're seeing a lot of criteria being put down here. Oh, but there's a level 1. Oh, no, nothing happens.
No.
I'll continue.
No, drop.
Yeah, so what we're seeing in the jungler here right now is that a lot of emphasis is being put on junglers that can gank early, that can use that warrior enchantment, and that pretty much leaves you with the champions we see right now. Jarvan, Lee Sin, and Rek'Sai, I'd say we have to put in the discussion as well right now.
It does seem as if Darling use bot lane is going for the Gromp early kill to get level 2 fast.
Yeah. I think Janna actually comes out slightly ahead in terms of like the Gromp taking Brahms here, just because he has the early shield, so they're going to take less damage bot lane. I'm wondering how Jarvan is actually going to start here. Seems like
yeah, they're doing Krugs.
Yeah, they're not going to actually try to get the early level 2. They're just going to let Jarvan do his jungler a lot easier. And for the red side, we see, of course, Azir and Lee Sin on the top side.
Yep. If I'm not mistaken, though, Krugs was nerfed on 4.21, so that the auto attack stuns are actually less frequent now. Yeah,
the heavy hands buff was nerfed a little bit, alongside with everything related to Devour, Enchantment, and Warwick.
Oh yeah.
So far, I don't think that actually changes the landscape much, just because everyone's using Warrior Enchantment right now.
Yep. Fizz is getting bullied, and the bot lanes are just draining blows right now. But yeah, the whole reason to get Crystal and Flask on Fizz, even though he is supposed to be explosive champion, is because against a ranged champion like Ari, he does get bullied pretty heavily, doesn't he? Although it seems as if he's also running 9 points of utility for the Biscuit.
Yeah, we've been seeing a lot of 9 points in mid laners for quite a long while. I mean, the mana regen situation has gone worse for most people.
Look at you, Hot Dog. He's draining blows, almost down to half health, and it seems as if well, Lat's basically almost untouched on that one.
Yeah, that's the thing about Janna.
Oh, the Charmander Kukudai. That's painful.
So we see Azir still going for more of the assassin type champions. This is something we should probably take note of and see in the future if he continues to display like a heavy favoring of assassins over other more lane control type champions.
Yep. And Quiet Rain's taking a whole bunch of damage from Lat as well from the push up. So it seems as if Darling U's bot lane is having a little trouble.
Yeah, and we see the gank coming in here as well.
Yep, JK setting up for a gank on Maple Snow. I've observed that for some reason, a lot of Taiwanese players use Maple in their names for some reason. Maple, I believe there's a Maple Street as well.
Yeah. Well, in Taiwan, it's actually because a lot of people played a really popular game called, I believe it's like Maple Valley. And a lot of people just brought the name Maple over from their names.
I see. I'm surprised it wasn't Maple Story. Oh, what? Crocodile is going in. He's just taking some damage, but I think it was a bad trade overall. He's taking a lot of punishment.
Yeah, and this is just the punishment we have to take for taking a fist pick early.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Spell shield on the death sentence, so that bot lane's not doing anything right now.
Yeah. This is definitely...
coming in. Illusion gets the kick, and he's down! First blood for Darling U.
Really well played right there. We saw Illusion was able to land the Sonic Wave before Ari was able to flash away, and it just followed up on that kill beautifully. Yep. I think Ari really underestimated the level 5 burst that was coming out from this right there. She took the whole playful trickster, and we see another game coming in here.
Game coming in from JK. Maple Snow just flashes out of the way safely. So that was a little bit unfortunate. Logic and snipers aren't able to find any grounds to pull back from the first blood, but it's only first blood. It's still early in the game.
I think the first gank by JK top was just to try to see if he could get a counter gank off. We saw the warding position in the top tri-bush, and Azir was already pushed to his own turret, so that wasn't likely going to be a straight-up gank, but more of a counter gank. And we saw that didn't pay off because Lee Sin Illusion actually got a kill mid.
Yeah. We also saw that Kukudai got Sheen off of that first assist, so looks like he's about to do pretty well then.
Yeah, and this is something to take note of as well. Like we saw yesterday in the OG, and I believe it was Bliss playing Fizz, and he still went for the more traditional Fizz build rather than the Morello Nomicon build we're seeing by Westdoor.
Yeah, Westdoor going for the early cooldown instead to use Playful Trickster more often.
Yeah, exactly.
Some light trading going down between Unlimited and Lat. This is, by the way, not the European Unlimited, who's a support player.
I got confused about that myself. I was like, wow, Unlimited's in Taiwan now?
When did that happen? Oh, wait, successful hook on to Lat. He gets played into the fight. Limited is chasing in with, but gets knocked up by the tornado. Hot Dog is peeling off as he's supposed to be doing. So overall, they managed to get the heal off of Lat, though.
Yeah, I'm not sure why Hot Dog is bringing Ignite. That's a really uncommon summoner spell for a Janna to be taking.
Yeah,
She doesn't really have much kill pressure in lane at all.
yeah, it would make a lot of sense for Thresh, but he's running Exhaust instead.
Yeah, so we saw right there that trade was just heavily in favor of Jarling Yu's Quiet Rain and Unlimited making some good plays.